Hi everybody, welcome very much to the channel once again. We're still going through the full moon in Aries and let's see the full moon in Aries through all the houses. Right, thank you very much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and if you are watching this video even 1, 2, even 3 days, even 5 days after the full moon, it's still useful for you because the full moon is a moment of accumulation and then until the moon gets empty again, we're gonna collect the gifts or the curses from the full moon, right? So first, real quick, what is the full moon in Aries? It means that we might be overreacting and over-responding to new and creative feelings and emotions, and also attractions that deal with your passion, motivation, anger, frustration, deep desires, personal interests, personal insecurities, and it's all about, or it's more about, when you got those new feelings, you might overreact to them if they are about you expressing or being seen in a new different way, or being vulnerable or naive about your passions or frustrations, or about you being limited or feeling limited by others or the world or yourself when it's time to express or feel those new visions, creativity, and senses of uniqueness and individuality. If you have Aries in the first house and the full moon is going through there, it means you might be overreacting and over-responding to new feelings and emotions that deal with your passions, creativity, and uniqueness when it's about your personal life, your personal insecurities, and personal interests. So for an example, it might be somebody that is close to you, or that you spend a lot of time together, or you share a house, or you share a space, right? And they might be going through something that makes you create a new feeling or a new vision, and then you might be too expressive or too rash expressing these things, right? Or you might just be feeling a bit more insecure or too much energetic, too powerful to charge around those personal spaces, personal interests, or personal insecurities. Moving on to the second house, if you have full moon in Aries on the second house, it means that you are overreacting and over-responding to new feelings and emotions that deal with your creativity and passions, and you might be too insecure or just too not sure or very charged when those new feelings are about your values, what you value, how you value others, and how you think others value you, right? So you might be feeling renovated, remotivated with passion or frustration, or you might be feeling insecure, you don't know what to do, and that might make you aggressive or too passive on those times. So make sure to always value yourself and make sure to look into update and create new values or new ways to express and see those values in yourself and others. Moving on to the third house, if you have full moon in Aries going through your third house, it means you might be overreacting or over-responding to new feelings and emotions that deal with your creativity, individuality, passions, or frustrations when it comes to your surroundings, as in a bigger zone, right? When you go outside, you go to the supermarket, at school, at the office, in the transit, you might be creating new frustrations or new passions that deal with your environment. So you might get mad in the traffic, you might get mad, or somebody might get mad at you while asking for something on the grocery store, or you might also just create these new little moments where you have a deep and very meaningful connection, something that just made you very happy or very motivated or very frustrated, real quick, like a quick interaction. You're talking to your neighbor or somebody new that you don't see a lot of times, or literally somebody new pops into your apartment, not apartment building, but in the stairway or something, and you have a little interaction, and that makes you motivated or excited. You know what I'm saying? Because this full moon in Aries is really just like a lot of sparks coming through, right? So those little sparks for you, if you are full moon in Aries in the third house, can come from anywhere where you go physically. Then, if you have full moon in Aries in the fourth house, you are going through a learning lesson, a bit more of tense moments, right? So you are learning how to feel more external, how to feel more individual, unique, creative, uplifted, passionate, or frustrated about your familiar spaces, your familiar connections, your places of comfort, security, and privacy. Physically speaking, like your room or your living room or your house, literally, but mostly emotional speaking. So you might have a feeling, a vision, a situation, and you go to a certain feeling, you go to a certain memory, and you go to a certain desire to create comfort and to relax and recharge. With the full moon in Aries, you might feel exposed, or you might feel that thing does not satisfy or make you comfortable, because we are creating new images and visions, or others created and expressed a new vision and feeling about you or about that comfortable thing, and now you doubting yourself, you don't not feeling so comfortable, you're not feeling so familiar. But remember, it's full moon, so you might be going crazy. The learning lesson is important, but remember, you can always make a place comfortable or a place familiar if you have the right purpose, if you are using it for some type of spiritual purpose or spiritual expansion. Moving on to full moon in Aries in your 5th house, it means you might be creating new or too charged passions or frustrations when it comes to your entertainment, what you entertain, what you like to entertain, about your own sense of uniqueness and individuality. So you might be creating a new sense of trust or a new sense of insecurity. So when it's time for you to express what you like, yourself, your creativity, and things about your entertainment in a fixed and consistent way, right? You might not be a bit too rash because you're insecure and you feel like you need to protect something, or you might be too overconfident and don't really care about the nuances and the people that you are connecting to and being a part of your audience. So be careful, don't go too high in the ego, but also don't go too low into the insecurities. Just express those new feelings, just express those new actions, that new creativity and that new or just renovated and updated sense of security in your individuality and uniqueness. Then let's move on to the 6th house. If you have full moon in Aries going through your 6th house, it means you might be creating new feelings, new visions, new passions, frustrations, or creativity that might make you nervous, that might make you unstable, might make you feel unstable and insecure about others that are in this space, or you just might feel like, let's do it, and then we figure it out later because you trust in your ability to be organized, efficient, aware of the reality, and aware of others' reality and others' ability to be efficient and productive in your reality. Everything inside of the world of work, routine patterns, health, and organization. So it can be most likely new feelings and new emotions, new sense of creativity, new senses of rush, pressure, motivation, or frustration can make you feel insecure, unorganized, or perturbed when it comes to your routines, patterns, or work. But also, you might just feel more confident, or you trust more your ability to make those new visions come true, or those new visions, instead of perturbing the routine and pattern, they can help you just keep motivated, improve actually, not the routine in itself, not what you do, but how you do it, and the imaginations that come from it, the spiritual spaces that you go into while you're performing your routines and patterns. Right? Moving on to full moon in Aries in the 7th house, that means you might be creating new feelings and emotions that make you passionate or frustrated, or that makes you want to relate your creativity and individuality to your relationships. In your relationships might be seeing you in a new, passionate, frustrated, or unique way, right? And you want to feel more fulfilled in that realm of the relationships. Or if you're already planting the good seeds, you already have those charges to give and relate, right? So you can be the spark to your relationships because you are the balancing energy, right? Aries rules the 1st house, right? Aries came out of the 1st house. It's ruled by Mars. Mars is exalted in Capricorn, right? And the Sun is exalted in Aries. So it's a lot about these like attention, being seen in a certain way, achieving a certain status, right? All this Aries energy. And by it being in the 7th house, it's kind of balanced because you, the moon is going through that house, so you're going to feel the need, or others going to feel the need to balance things out, to be a bit more subtle, sophisticated, light, fun, and enjoyable. Bring that Venus, relatability, and connection. So you can be the charge, right? But also, by you just being yourself, if you planted good seeds, those new feelings, those new visions within you, when you express and relate something to your partners, that can create in them as well a new vision or a new opportunity for them to then be more uplifted, more charged in terms of like just energy and motivation, or frustration, right? You might bring a lot of frustration to your relationships, or you might attract a lot of frustration from your relationships. Keep that in mind as well. But you can help others, especially your closer partners, to feel motivated, frustrated, unique, and individual. Moving on to the 8th house. If you have full moon in Aries in the 8th house, you might be overreacting and over-responding to certain misunderstandings because you usually are a bit more private, a bit more reserved, and a bit more calculative with expressing and acting on your passions, motivation, anger, frustration, and deep desires. But to full moon in Aries, you might feel the need to be a bit more naive, go for the first thought, go for the first feeling, take more action, be a bit more rashful, or you're attracting people that are working in those ways, and you have to bring your 8th house element to bring a bit more patience, a bit more privacy, and a bit more security, emotionally speaking. Or if you're already going through certain deep experiences, transformative situations, or if you're attracting somebody that is going through that and they're trying to create new feelings and emotions, and perhaps they're talking too much or acting too much, or they already did and now they're kind of wounded and hurt, you can bring to them some deeply charged waters filled with minerals and good energies so they can feel more secure, still feeling that transformative cycle, but more secure, calm, and collected. But all of that will be a tense emotional situation for you. But if you have Aries in the 8th house, even though you go through misunderstandings between yourself, your deep desires, and people in your personal life, it's always full of charge, it's always full of energy, it's always full of passion and motivation. So even though it's a bit can be a bit chaotic or a bit out of control, or just too much emotion, too much rashness, too much clashing as well, it has a lot of good juice that you can use to then bring better situations for you and your personal relationships. Moving on to the 9th house. If you have the full moon in Aries in the 9th house, it means that you are creating new feelings and new emotions that you or others might overreact to when it comes to sharing your wisdom and knowledge, sharing in a mutable and adaptable way your beliefs, your feelings, your expressions, visions, creativity, and a bit more toned down sense of individuality and creativity. But this full moon in Aries can bring to you, if it's in your 9th house, a new, refreshed, passionate, or frustrated sense of uniqueness and individuality when it's about sharing or just talking or imagining your belief system, right? Or seeing and sharing your visions, or you imagining yourself sharing your visions to others. And then how you imagine them reacting, right, can be extremely unique, extremely confident, or extremely insecure. Moving on to the 10th house, if you have the full moon in Aries going through your 10th house, it's a learning process. So you are learning how to or not to overreact to new feelings, new emotions, new senses of creativity, uniqueness, passion, and frustration when it comes to how you naturally create business, status, routines, patterns, and how you apply your new limits and boundaries, right? So you want to be a bit more protected, you want to be a bit more realistic, you in general, right? And you want to apply limits and boundaries and build in unique but solid foundations, networking, and associations. But the full moon in Aries is bringing you the need, perhaps the extreme need, not a realistic need, right? to just be more expressive, to initiate more senses of motivation and frustration that can break some of your limits and boundaries, that can break others' limits and boundaries in that area, in your work associations, realistic associations, structural associations, but also it might show others your true value, your true power. You might show others how to be really unique in building something, how to build something that is really unique and can be supportive and can bring money, right? But you might go through some tense situations, you might go through some clashing moments, you might go through heavy moments of doubt or feeling limited, or you might actually be the one to limit others when they're too expressive, when they're too passionate, when they're being too creative, because you have Aries naturally in the 10th house. So internally, you already bring limits and boundaries to your new visions, actions, and expressions that deal with creativity and passion, right? So the full moon in Aries might bring people or a group of people or this strong emotion that you need to correct, you need to bring down to reality, and you're learning to do that, and then others are learning how to accept your knowledge, accept your structure, or if they don't think you are good enough for them, to burn you out. And you can also learning how to be burned out, because your wisdom and knowledge, how you organize your structure, how you create new limits and boundaries might not be correct for others, and it might be correct, but they might feel hurt and offended and just leave you. And you realize you already did your job. You already applied the Capricorn energy into Aries-like situations. Moving on to the 11th house, if you have Aries, the full moon in Aries going through your 11th house, it means you are creating new feelings and emotions that deal with expressing your creativity, uniqueness, passions, and motivations into a more worldwide way. Broadcasting about science, about astrology, in social media, about things that happen in society, about laws, government, organizations, the big picture, big events, right? So you might feel very motivated and passionate to talk about something, or to just be a part of something, but if it's not really in accordance to your personal interests, to your personal insecurities, and to your personality, you're just wasting a whole bunch of energy, and you might go into some aggressive, dangerous, or just naive, foolish-like situations because you were not in the right space. But you were able to create a portal, you were able to travel to those situations easily because they are in your space, they are in your environment. But you gotta be more specific, you gotta be more unique. Remember, 11th house, Aquarius came from there, so it's all about having a fixed and unique mind and way to think and communicate. So if you are not going to a specific space where you can think, communicate, and analyze in unique ways about your personal interests, personal insecurities, or personality in general, or things that relate with that on a deep level, you're just wasting energy and going into unnecessary situations. And that will create tension, because your spirit will create situations to make you out of those wrong places to go back into the right places. And if you don't listen, if you're too stubborn, if you're just too giddy, if you're just receiving all that validation, and if you're just seeing progress but in terms of connecting with the wrong people and associations, then the drawback, the fall is way bigger, and you might go through a tough situation, a transformative situation, because you were creating all these new charges. The charges were good, the motivation was good, the frustration was good, but it was in the wrong place because you just too connected to a broader bubble without having your own bubble to be a part of it. Because that big bubble, I don't know, a subject, an event, a wave, does not relate, cannot be a part of your own personality, personal interests, and insecurities. Lastly but not least, if you have Aries, if you have the full moon in Aries going through your 12th house, it means that you are creating new feelings and emotions that you might be overreacting to, or others might be overreacting to the expressions, to the passion, frustration, uniqueness, and creativity that comes from your dreams, illusions, imaginations, nightmares, creativity, spiritual belief system, spiritual purpose, emotional connection, and spiritual connection. So you also might be attracting new expressions or new intensity from your secret haters or secret lovers. Bro, I really need to say this. When it's about Pisces, it really goes spiritual, right? Because you might, the secret haters and the secret lovers, you might never know who they are, and they might be right next to you, but you don't know they are a secret lover or a secret hater, right? But because it's Pisces, right, the energy exchange, the mutabilization, remember Pisces is mutable water, so the mutabilization of water, feelings and emotions, things that we can see but that connect us all, right, spiritually and emotionally, they are way more effective. So they might secretly love you, but they are too prideful to say it. They might feel limited. Your expression might limit them because they're afraid to offend you or something. But with this full moon in Aries, they, or imagine you come up with a new idea, with a new expression, with a new sense of creativity, and they react to that in an extreme way as well. So you can receive extreme hidden support or extreme hidden hate. Because your haters, if you have secret haters, and sometimes a person hates you just because your spiritual natures are too different, or because they want to be in a similar position, or they want to be like you, but they have a lot of weight and a lot of dirt around their spirit. So that hate is them getting hateful towards their situation. They're using you as an example to shake off the dirt and go to the similar position as you, right? But you can see that in an extreme way, or they just really extreme because they just start to create these new feelings and new ideas and new expressions with passion and motivation about you, your work, your creativity, and your spiritual routines, right? And you might be creating a new passion or a new frustration about a dream and an illusion, or about somebody else's feelings, about somebody else's expressions, about somebody else's feelings. It can be a bit chaotic, but in the end of the day, if you are focused, if you planted the right seeds until the full moon in Aries, you'll have the right dream and the right illusion to feel more comfortable, more confident, and more unique in expressing, connecting, and relating that dream or creative material. That's it. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's useful to you. Let me know in the comments down below how is your full moon in Aries going. And I wish you the best thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions. A whole bunch of individuality, creativity, and responsibility as well. Until the next time, as a today cloud surfer, surfing out, use the links down below to book readings with me, and goodbye.